What's up everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Grind channel. In this video we're going to be talking about one of the channel favorites, and that's Algorand, and why I think it is a fantastic coin to be buying into, and why I think that there's plenty more room for this coin to grow, even though it is still a fairly high cap. So if that's something that interests you, stick around, make sure you're watching all the way to the end, and of course hitting that thumbs up button, because that's the best way that you can support any YouTube channel. So what is Algorand? If you'd like to know a bit more and a bit more of a deeper dive of the coin, go and check out my previous video and I'll tell you a bit more about it. But basically it's a layer one that caters for everything. That's sort of my best way to describe it at the moment. Everything that you can think of in Web3, in crypto, Algorand can host it and does it well. So this is just their landing page. I'm going to go to this article here, which pretty much describes why I think that Algorand is going to be a really good hold long term. They definitely have the potential to be a top 10 coin by the end of the next bull run. Currently sitting around that 40 position mark, so it's still got some way to go, but it's great for us because that means there's plenty of room for profit basically. So Algorand, what is it? I've just said that it's a layer one, similar to Ethereum obviously, and they make use of a proof of stake, or what they call a pure proof of stake. And the reason why they use this consensus mechanism is that they say that they have sort of solved the blockchain trilemma. In quick terms, basically, in any blockchain, you have security, decentralization, and scalability. Those are the three things that blockchain technology tries to solve. And the rule of thumb is generally you can have two of these, but you sacrifice one. Algorand seems to have sort of solved this trilemma, which is fantastic because that just gives them an advantage over all the other chains out there that haven't seemed to got it right just yet. So they make use of the pure proof of stake, and we will talk a little bit more about why that is so important. And also, obviously, they are carbon negative, so that whole narrative of green being green and not using a lot of electricity, that's something that they have right as well. So they've actually reduced their carbon footprint significantly in the past few years. And they actually annually use about what 7 small households would use in a year. And also to offset any carbon tax or anything that they do use as well, any energy that they do use, they actually have offsets, so planting trees, that sort of thing, that make them even better when it comes to being green. So that's something that will ease the minds of a lot of people getting into this cryptocurrency. And then also what sets them apart, and that's the pure proof of stake protocol, which we did speak about. Basically, going over it quickly, ordinary proof of stake, the network is maintained by validators who stake an amount of the network's native token. Then obviously the validators get rewarded for staking and doing the validations of transactions and so on. But a lot of the time, the validators with the most coins are the ones that get picked, which means that the rich get richer, and the smaller validators often don't make any money, which means they fall away, which hits your centralization, meaning that there's only a few validators on the network who are validating transactions and so on. And then you have a very centralized system. They can govern anything that happens within that system. The pure proof of stake is something a little bit different, where basically validators are selected at random to validate transactions, which means that it doesn't matter if you have a large amount of algo staked or a small amount, you still have a chance to be selected and to validate a transaction, and obviously be rewarded for that as well, which really makes it more centralized and more fair, which is, you really want to see that sort of community focused coin as well. So I like that part of it as well. They also have what's called state of proofs, which is a better bridge compared to your normal bridges that some blockchains would have. And it's they make use of they're going to be making use of what's called ZK Snark. If you want to know what ZK Snark is, it's fairly complicated. We can go through it a lot here, so I'm not going to. But basically, ZK Snark is a type of zero knowledge proof of staking, which basically says that somebody can have information and prove that it's them without actually letting that information out of their site. So the information stays private, but they can prove that the transaction is from them. And basically it says, so here, succinct, non-interactive argument of knowledge. That's your ZK Snark, and it refers to proof of construction where one can prove possession of certain information, so secret information, without revealing that information and without any interaction between the prover and the verifier. So they're going to be making use of that, which also puts them above some of the others who aren't going to be using these ZK rollups in the future. At the moment, they're using state proofs, which is also a way that they can bridge everything across. So here's a little diagram. So you lock coins away, goes into escrow, state of proof, reports recent transactions in a state of proof. Then it creates more compact proof to lower gas fees. So obviously you don't need to do a lot to prove that the transaction is complete. So the gas fees are lower. Then it goes to your light client where Ethereum learns about the recent transactions and then obviously verifies and everything like that. So that's great. Something else that is actually pretty important for Algorand is the post-quantum security. Now, we all know that computers are getting more and more powerful every year, and we're going to get to a point where quantum computers, which take up rooms and rooms and a whole bunch of space, are going to be sitting on people's desks. With these quantum computers come a huge amount of security issues because obviously the cryptography and the encryption standards that we make use of right now can be cracked pretty quickly with these quantum computers. And Algorand are the first to make sure that they are safe against quantum computers, or it'll take a very long time for quantum computers to crack the encryption behind Algorand. So it's something there that they have over some of the other chains because they're the very first. Now, I'm sure there will be others that will catch up, but by that time, Algorand have got the first to market, which is always something that is important in any industry, cryptos included. Keep going down the list as well. Some of the other reasons why I think Algorand is fantastic is they've got their founder, Silvio Miacali, super intelligent individual. He has been working with universities and so on encryption standards, so he really understands security, encryption, and so on. So he's leading this team, and I really do like that he's still so involved in such an intelligent individual. He's got them on the boards of certain Italian companies. They're going to be involved with the Italian CBDC as well. So, you know, he has his impact big time on the Algorand network. A few others that we'll go over pretty quickly because I don't want to make this video too long. They also make use of programming languages that are already well known by a lot of developers. So you're also making sure that a lot of people can develop and deploy your apps on the Algorand network, and those include Python and JavaScript. There are more coming. I actually have it up here on one of my Twitter pages where you can see last year there was a Decipher event where their CTO, John Allen Woods, actually said that they're going to make it easier for everybody to develop on the Algorand network by introducing Rust as something that will be accepted as part of the developing languages on the network. And they're actually going to be announcing how they're going to do it today at the time of recording on the 29th of March. So I'll keep everybody up to date. So watch out for another video on the channel where I'll say exactly and let you know exactly what John Allen Woods actually said. Moving back to this article here, they obviously a very quick network. You know, they can handle something like 8,000 transactions a second at a very, very cheap price. So, you know, that's something that you want to see, finalization of a transaction very quickly. They have incentives as well, where they're actually giving incentives for things like bug bounties, where people can find issues on the Algorand network and you get paid for it. And they're also incentivizing developers to deploy on the network and are funding certain developers and certain projects to deploy on the Algorand network. Moving on to the next thing that I wanted to show you is that they are on the Unity asset store as well. In my previous videos, you would have seen that Unity is a software development house that only verifies certain companies when they reach specific standards. Algorand have met those standards for the SDKs for some of the metaverse games that are going to be deployed on the Algorand network, and because of that, they're on the Unity store. So meaning that a lot of AAA developers will take notice of that and probably deploy their games at some point in the future on Algorand. Just something more that gives you a bit more of a bullish price on Algorand. So, you know, watch out for that. Moving on to the tokenomics, I'm not going to go through a whole bunch on this. Currently sitting at pretty much 23 cents. If you were part of my Patreon, you would have seen that I sent out a buy alert a few days ago when we were sitting at about 19 cents all the way down here. It was about there, sorry, move there. So I put out an alert a few days ago so that I'm picking up some more Algorand. And if you were part of the Patreon, you would have seen that. And currently you would have been up a fair amount, 15% on the day, a little bit more over the last few days. So make sure that you are checking out the Patreon, guys. There's something for everybody, whether it's getting videos early, having my buy alerts, having my sell alerts, whatever the case is, and there's something for everybody. And it goes all the way down to your one-on-one consultations with everybody. I would recommend this tier here, where it sort of gives everybody the best of both worlds. If you want to make some really good gains in crypto, come and check out my Patreon. Like I said, there's something for everyone. Also, if you want, join the Telegram. It's a group of individuals that are slowly building a fantastic community here within Crypto Grind. So check it out. Join that Telegram as well. I do just want to lastly go through some of their socials. They are very, very active on Algorand, on Twitter, letting everybody know they're having a global community call on the 29th, which is today, the time of recording. I will let everybody know what happens on this call. This is probably where John Allen Woods is going to let everybody know what's happening around the development side of Algorand. So this isn't the last video that I'm going to have on Algorand, because I'm very bullish on this coin. And I know that the supply is fairly high, but I can definitely see this going up to maybe 40 billion in market cap at the next bull run. I know it sounds unrealistic, but when things get going in bull runs, you know exactly what happens in this market. And we can actually see here that previously its all-time high was sitting at $3. So if you have a look at that, that's 30 billion in market cap when you're having a look at maximum supply. So we're around about 30 billion in market cap. So definitely 40 billion is achievable. So I would definitely think now is the right time to be DCAing into the project. I'm very, very excited about Algorand. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, make sure you're subscribing, hitting that like button, commenting down below what you think about Algorand and how much you are going to be picking up over the next few months. And if you're already holding Algorand, also let us know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.